Hey guys, welcome to Bloggerans United. Welcome to another video, and today is the start of a new mini-series. This, for the time being, is going to be a 3-part series about the road to the best Barcelona, the road to the best Barça. And it's going to be based on my opinion, and I must repeat this, is my opinion on what Barcelona need to do to get back to where we used to be, to get back to the way that we used to do things. And I've made similar videos around this, but I'm gonna be touching this. This is why this is gonna be a 3-part series, because there is things that I need to touch detailed, because it's very important for Barcelona to be able to do this. And these are not the only problems that need to be fixed, but if you fix these 3 things, then everything will come along and you'll be able to succeed, in my opinion. I think that if you fix these things, everything else will come along and Barcelona will be on the road to get back to the best way of doing things. So let's start by the first part, which is the manager and the coach, which basically means the manager needs to be the leader of the project. He needs to be the leader of the team. What does this mean? It means that players get no say in transfers. They should not be giving out their opinions on the tactics, on players that should be signed, on players that should be substituted. They should have no opinion at all on how we play, on how we do things. Not opinion at all. If you're asked, then fine. Say what you think, and we'll consider it last, because then there's other things that we have to consider, and his technical team and the board, all those things come first before the player's opinion. So if you want signing off maybe a friend of yours to come to the club, if he suits the needs that we have and he's not a toxic player or anything like that, then we'll take into consideration, or the manager will take it into consideration. And why is this so important for Barcelona? Well, it's not only Barcelona. It's important for any club that is trying to achieve success. And success is not trophies. Success is not achieved in the amount of trophies that you win. Success is achieved on the goal that you have set on yourself. Were you able to reach that goal? For Barcelona, the goal is the treble, or playing well and having good and winning some trophies along the way. That is the goal for Barcelona. For a club fighting relegation, the goal is not getting relegated. Mid-table is mid-table, Europa League, and so on and so forth. So if success for Barcelona means playing well, playing our brand of football, and winning trophies while we're at it, then you have to think, who were the most successful managers? Like, let's name the top 3 most successful managers in Barcelona's history. I would say number 1, Pep Guardiola, the first, the one that evolved the way we play, evolved the way we do things. Not the pioneer, because that was Johan Cruyff, but the number 1 in terms of what he won collectively with how we played is Pep Guardiola, without a shadow of a doubt. And he was the leader of the project. When it was time of truth, he kicked out Ronaldinho, Deco, Thuram, and so many other names, and he trusted in the likes of Messi, who, let's put it this way, before Messi wasn't part of the starting trio. It was Ronaldinho, Eto'o, and Henry, or Eto'o, Ronaldinho, and Juli. But Messi was progressively getting into the team, but he wasn't the mainstay of the team, and he made Messi a part of the team. Piqué, he came into the team. He finally was able to put Andres Iniesta into the midfield with Xavi. He put Yaya Touré out of the squad, or at least put him second fiddle to a young Sergio Busquets that he promoted from Tercera. Why was he able to do this? Because he was the leader of the project. because his decisions came first before anyone. While Laporta was at Barcelona, Pep Guardiola was the leader of the project. Together with Chiqui Beristain, they took all the decisions that the club needed. Signings, outs, the way they play, things, everything. And coincidentally, it was the most successful period of Barcelona because we go ahead and win a treble in our first season. We win a La Liga the next season. We win a Champions League and La Liga double in the 2010-2011 season. And in his last season, in the 11-12, we lose the La Liga very, very unfortunately against a really good Real Madrid side from Mourinho. And we win the Copa del Rey, getting knocked out in the Champions League against Chelsea. And that was the period, the most successful period in our history with one manager, with Pep Guardiola. A manager that, if you ask yourself, how is it possible that 2 Champions Leagues in 4 years, and one of them was a treble, and another of those was a double, how is it that the manager is getting, like, why is he leaving? He's Catalan. He played for the youth system at Barcelona. He was a Barcelona legend. He loves football because Pep Guardiola is a lover of this sport. Then why does he leave? Because he starts losing power. Because the board start asking him to talk to Neymar because he want to sign Neymar. Because he wanted Chigrinsky, and they decide to sell Chigrinsky and his wills. Because, they try to impose signings on him. Because he had a way of doing things, and maybe, and there's a player that's gonna play a part in like the way that I think that Barca are doing something terribly wrong, because he's having way too much influence in and off the pitch in the way we do things, and I think that's very dangerous for Barcelona. And that is Gerard Piqué. In the 2011-2012 season, we had a problem with, or I believe that 2010-2011, maybe, when we play against Leverkusen, Piqué was seated out of the squad. He did not feature during that match in Champions League knockout game. And if you have to ask yourself why that was the case, well, the case being that Pep Guardiola decided not to play him, and you should not be having an attitude just because you're not playing one game. But I think that's the moment where Piqué will start having problems with, with Guardiola, because Ibrahimovic, and I think that this was a really bad idea. Really great player. I love Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But when he came to the dressing room, I believe that everything shifted in the 2009-2010 season. Because in his biography, he kept saying, or he said that when I arrived at Barcelona, I was surprised that the players look like kids, look like kids in a school following the orders from their manager. And that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to follow every order from your manager. Every single order from your manager you're supposed to follow. Because that's how we train you at La Masia. There's no coincidence that our most successful period in Barcelona's history has also been the one where we had the most players for La Masia. When I talk about having players in La Masia, it's not about being romantic and just, I want to have more youth players than everyone else and I'm winning with youth players. Yes, that is nice, but that's not the reason you do it. You do it because these players having thought as people to respect your manager, to be professional, to love the club, to play for the club. Players that from out, it's really hard for them to get this, and that's why the more players you have from La Masia in your team, the better it will be for you, because you will have a better collective team. They will all go for the same cause and try to win this. If you don't have what you need, if you tactically, physically, or technically you don't have a player that is suited to what you need in La Masia, you go ahead and buy him. That's why you have scouts, and we pay a lot for scouts. Now we go on and go for Luis Enrique, in my opinion, the second most successful coach in our history, and he was absolutely incredible, winning treble in his first season, league and cup the second season, and the cup the last season, with 3 points from winning another La Liga. Now, with this, it's very important to recognize that Luis Enrique took a team that basically was the same core from Guardiola, from Tata Martino, and from Tito Villanova. He took a team that should have been sort of transitioned out, and because the board did something wrong with some of the youth signings, recalling Takefusa Kubo and some others, well, Barcelona were imposed a transfer ban, and I think this is something that no one talks about, seems to remember. But we had a transfer ban imposed, so basically the same summer that Luis Enrique arrives, he needs to have his team for the next 2 seasons, or for at least the next 1.5 seasons, defined. What does this mean for Barcelona? It means he needed to the outs and ins, or at least the ins that he needed for at least 1.5 seasons, and that is really difficult because yes, maybe during the season you could be fine, but for the next season, and we were still the best team in the world, because and it wasn't really that different of a team. Like, he didn't transition too many of the players out. He just changed Fabregas and Alexis Sanchez for Luis Suarez and Ivan Rakitic. That was the important signings, the important movements that we did during that 2014 summer. And he goes ahead and challenges the players. He goes ahead in Anoeta against Real Sociedad, and again where we lose, he benches Messi, Piqué. I believe he also benched Neymar, if I'm not mistaken. He benched some of the big names to make a statement, to make a statement that he's the leader of the project, because we were failing. We were failing beforehand. In the latter part of 2014 year, we were second to Madrid, and everything looked like we were not going to win La Liga. January turns around, and we go ahead in a winning spree, and we go ahead and win the treble, beating Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich, and Juventus in that final in Berlin in the Champions League. We win the treble, and the next year after that, we win the double with a Messi that was injured during that season. For part of the season, Neymar took the ropes of the team together with Luis Suarez, where he went supernova and scored a lot of goals. And it was great because we played very well. Then the Champions League turns around, and in the quarterfinals we go ahead and lose to Atletico Madrid. Now, losing to Atletico Madrid is no shame because they're one of the best teams in the world, especially that team who was Godin in his prime, Filipe Luis, Juan Fran, all these great players. But what we needed, I think one of the problems was that we lost, and then because the dressing room was kind of knocked out. Barcelona all of a sudden started losing pretty much. Like they lost like 4 La Liga games in a row, and we were like 13, 14 points ahead of Madrid during that time. We literally had to go on a winning spree where I believe Suarez scored something like 18 goals in 4 games or something ridiculous like that to win La Liga. So we had a Liga that was so comfortable during the whole season, and in the last couple match days we go ahead and almost lose it. And then that form translated out for next season, and we go ahead and have a really bad start to the season, and we get the 4-0 in Paris and the 3-0 in Turin. It is really important to highlight this because Luis Enrique was the manager from January 2015 to March 2016. That's when he was able to be the full manager of the club, to have complete control of the dressing room. And that is when we play our best football. So whenever you're trying to say that we won everything because Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, which is the way that people seem to criticize Luis Enrique for, because they don't want to give him any props for his great work, well, let me tell you that we had Messi, Suarez, and Neymar in the beginning of 2014 when we lost 3-1 against Real Madrid. We had Messi, Suarez, and Neymar when we lost 4-0 in Paris, 3-0 in Turin. So this thing about you win by the players and lose by the manager, it's not the right mentality. It's not the right mentality. Because the manager always wants to win. So you should always go for the manager. And the third most important manager in our history is Johan Cruyff. At least in titles, and I mean, he's the most important one. He's the most important figure in Barcelona history. Manager-wise, he was crucial for us, and results-wise, he was amazing. He won a Champions League. He played with some of the best legends that the club ever had: Stoichkov, Romario, Laudrup, Koeman, Jikahagi, Guardiola. He had those great players around him, and it was very nice to, like, I know about that history. I didn't live through it, but I know about it. I've seen some of the games, and he was the pioneer of Barcelona. And during the first couple of seasons, during his first 2 seasons, the team was going all for the same cause, and we won trophies. Comes about his third season. After his third season, the fourth season, the players basically started doing whatever the hell they want. Laudrup leaves for Madrid, and we go ahead, and Romario stays in Brazil, and all of a sudden we lose the dressing room, and we start going into a dark age where Johan Cruyff gets sacked from Barcelona, and that should be a signal that you should always go for the manager, because in all these situations we have lost due to us not trusting our managers. Because how coincidentally that about the second to third season, no manager lost from Barcelona. It seems like something always happens that during the second or third season, the players just happen to lose the plot, and everything goes to the crap. So this is why it is really important to have trust into the managers. Luis Enrique, Cruyff, Guardiola, they all were really successful for Barcelona, and they could have all been here for a long time. And we did not respect them to the point where they left, and we decided to trust in the players. That is because players come and go, but your managers could be here for a long time. Look at Alex Ferguson. He did not win every single year, but he was the leader of the project. Look at Guardiola and Klopp right now. There's 2 reasons that Manchester City and Liverpool are the best teams in the world right now. Because they're the only 2 teams that have 2 full leaders in that dressing room. They've understood that. Why were Arsenal and Chelsea in that Champions League, in that Europa League final, and Spurs were in the Champions League final? Because, not coincidentally, English teams have understood the importance of giving a manager trust, of giving them all the power to be able to do things. The Spurs team is not Harry Kane's team, it's not Dele Alli's team, it is Pochettino's team. That Arsenal squad used to be Arsene Wenger's team, and now it's Emery's team. It's not Aubameyang's, it's not Ozil's, it's not Lacazette's. That Chelsea team, Sarri was the figure of the squad. It wasn't Eden Hazard's team, it was Sarri's team. Before it was Conte's team, and before that it was Mourinho's team. If you want to have a successful period at your club, you need managers with having full control of your squad. I think that this is really important to understand, and until we don't get this, it doesn't matter if we have Valverde or if we have Guardiola. Because if the manager is just going to be a tool for the board to use as a scapegoat whenever you lose, then you're never going to win with any manager, because you're not giving them the availability to manage, to coach the team. I think that the next couple of videos is going to be also talking about the play style and the youth system. It's going to be Also, two things that are gonna take a bit. I am at 20 minutes already, and I think this video should end. So with all this said and done, leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. What do you think about this topic? Do you agree with me? Do you think that the manager needs to be the most important figure in the squad? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Black Grannas.